Biggie building, you know he's on top. Million subs, he never gonna flop. Out of Chicago, where the streets don't sleep. Betting on games, making cash real deep. Crystal ball for sports, he knows the lines. He's a sports aficionado, the money he finds. From football to basketball, he's always on point. Predicting winners never disappoints. He's got that hustle, that Chicago vibe. Making moves on the streets, cash on the side. With E, you know it's always a bet. He's the king of the game, never forget.
Hello and welcome to the Etoft21sports Show for September 3rd. How is everyone doing? My name is Eric. I'm the man behind Etoft21sports. Absolutely loaded episode for you today. My boy Reed is coming on. Him and I are going to share our bets for the NFL Week 1. Really excited about that. And Gino will have his horse racing bet of the day. But before we get into all that, I'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of the show, Parlay Play. If you're not using Parlay Play, go to the App Store, download the Parlay Play app, use promo code NFL Betting Blitz for a nice little deposit match. Those watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, really helps me out. Those watching on Twitch, hit that follow button, really helps the kid out. Now, before we welcome Reed to the show, let's shift our attention over to Kentucky Downs and see what Gino has as his horse racing bet of the day.
Best bet for this week is going to come on Saturday at Kentucky Downs. Race is already out for Saturday, September the 7th. Huge fields, huge pools. They run for tons of money there, but it's just a short meet, only a couple weeks worth of racing. We're going to look at race number 7 on Saturday, and I'm going to go to a horse that I actually bet last time out, and that had a little bit of a trouble trip. That's the 8 Buttercream Babe. Her race on August the 2nd at Saratoga, she actually was facing the boys that day. And then she was down on the inside. She was in a good spot, but she got kind of like shuffled a little bit. She lost some of her positioning, and then she had to make a decision. Stay inside, move to the outside. She tried to go to the outside, nothing there, and then she had to kind of alter back to the inside. If she would have just stayed there, she might have won the race. I think she fits really well in here. She won at Kentucky last year. She raced twice here, and she ran really well in both of those races. So I think she fits in this spot. Buttercream Babe, she shouldn't be too far out of it because there's not that much early speed in here. So I hope they're kind of aggressive with her and how they place her. Buttercream Babe, 9-2 on the morning line. Anything over 3-1, I think feels fair. That's Saturday at Kentucky Downs. Good luck to Eric and everyone getting involved with the NFL this week.
Make sure to give my boy Gino a follow at It's Me Gino B on social media, on X, excuse me. Now let's welcome. He's been the guest the last 3 years on week 1. My boy, Reed. Reed, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing great. I'm ready for football to start. Getting ready Thursday. Excited.
Hey, buddy. All I know is my boy, Lawrence Butler, just hit a home run. So I'm going to be finishing the green with MLB today. So you know what? I can't complain, man. I'm off to a good day. I got my Lions gear on. I'm ready to go. Reed and I did an NFC North preview. He's a Chicago fan. I got to ask you, man, realistically right now, 10-point scale, how pumped are you right now?
Pumped?
Yeah.
A 12. I mean, I'm pumped. I'm ready for Sunday. I mean, it's a big one. It feels bigger than it really should, given a week 1 game, but I think everyone's excited to see how he's going to look. It's against a reasonable opponent. He's not getting a juggernaut week 1. And yeah, I'm excited to see like what the new offense looks like with Waldron. What our 3 receivers are able to do. Would I say I'm a 12 on the confidence scale? No. I think Tennessee's defensive line could maybe give us some issues, especially with our interior defensive line. And Nate Davis, probably our weakest link, as a former Titan. I'm sure they'll be, yeah, they might. I'm sure they'll be itching to get after Caleb Williams through him. But I don't know. I'm excited. I think our defense will at the very least keep us in the game. I don't see us like getting blown out or anything. But yeah, I would say I'm pumped. I'm jacked. Can't wait for it.
Now, usually we'll have a takeaway here from the previous week. But look, dude, this is the first week. So this is unrehearsed. I didn't give Reed the heads up. Reed used to play college football. College football was last week. Anything stuck out in college football? I have a takeaway.
I mean, my big takeaway, the top of the Big Ten was interesting. I didn't think Michigan looked great. I didn't think Ohio State looked all that great. And I didn't think, and Oregon moved the ball a bunch, but they kind of kept it close against Idaho. I don't think the SEC did great either. But, Georgia looked every bit of the number one team. And I think Texas took care of business as well. But, I don't know. What was your big takeaway?
My big takeaway is that the next time Miami plays someone that can provide pressure, they're an auto fade for me. I was really surprised. Like, Miami is very aggressive. Their offense, like Cam Ward, makes a lot of mistakes. As soon as they play someone that can create pressure, they're going to struggle. Florida couldn't create any pressure. I was shocked that Notre Dame, with 6 career starts on their offensive line and starting a freshman left tackle and playing backups, was able to go to College Station and have success against arguably the best defensive line in the country. That stood out to me. And another thing that stood out to me is now back-to-back weeks, I've had a plus 400 dog or better with a double-digit lead in the second half, and they didn't win the game. They covered, but they didn't win the game. So a special thing. This week was Hawaii. The week before was New Mexico. So, it's going to be interesting to see what my big dog is this week. But look, this isn't a college show. This is an NFL show. This is a big boy show. Just wanted to pick Reed's head, given the fact he used to play college football. We're here to talk betting. We each have 3 bets. Reed, you're the guest. Kick us off, big man.
So we've got Arizona Cardinals +6, +6.5, wherever you can find it. And they're at Buffalo this week. And so first off, I think this is a lot of points to begin with. It's something that, as a bettor, you're always kind of looking at for some value. And I think Arizona, as general, is a little undervalued this year. And I'll get on their quarterback later. But I'll start with Buffalo here. I think they've lost more than maybe people realize. Milano is injured, so he's out for this game. That safety duo, Hoyer and Hyde, are gone. I know Stephon Diggs left and they were okay with him leaving, but we'll see what they look like without a true number one receiver. Mac Hollins, Curtis Samuel, and Khalil Shakir don't really move me. I don't think Keon Coleman's going to be ready to step into that role right out of the gate. You have an offense, maybe Dalton Kincaid can pick up some of that slack, but I don't know. I wasn't getting the feeling that he's, kind of taking over for Knox. And so I think, Buffalo, with all these new pieces and, loss of Diggs, I think they could start off slow here. I think Arizona could get on them. Arizona, actually, I would say is more continuity than Buffalo right now from season to season. Gannon, year 2, he's finally getting some of his guys in for his defense. And Middlebury football alum, Drew Petzing, calling the plays on offense. I think here's my Kyler Murray rant. Kyler Murray is not elite by any stretch of the means, but people have done a 180 on him where he's now not that good. Kyler Murray is a very capable quarterback. I would say a quality quarterback. He's fully back from his ACL. Last year when he came back, he was 13 touchdowns, 5 picks. I think Arizona can keep this one close. I think Buffalo is going to have a little bit of an adjustment period to start with, a new, kind of way of living without Stephon Diggs. I know they kind of played that way last year, but I think it's a little different when teams know Diggs isn't on the field. And so I like Arizona +6 here. I think it's just too many points. Not going to maybe say they win outright, but this one could definitely be a little tighter.
Someone on Twitter posted that the 3 games that are teased the most are, the 2 games that are teased the most are the Bengals and the Bills. And the Bengals will probably be the 2 most popular teams in Survivor. Wouldn't surprise me if one or if not both these teams lost. lead more to the Bills. Bills have a lot of questions, man. You know, you hit the nail on the head, offensive line questions. Bills have some defensive questions as well. Don't really know who that true number one wide receiver is going to be. My first bet, and
just real quick too, to back you up, I would have faded the Bengals this week, but they're playing the Patriots, and that team's even more god awful. So couldn't do it.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it either. Now, my first bet, and my boy. Oh, I said Tomlinson. What the fuck? Dude, I'm going blind, dude. I thought this said Tomlin. He said Tomlinson. Tomlin as a dog. I'm taking the Steelers here +3. Tomlin as a dog, 64.8% ATS. As a road dog, 60.9% ATS. Tomlin as a dog with extended rest, 76.5%. For as much crap as Wilson has gotten the last couple of years, he's great as a dog. 64.8% ATS as a road dog, 61% ATS. Robinson is the Falcons' OC. He's never called plays before. Anyone that has watched my stuff before knows that I'm not a fan of backing play callers that have never called plays before. Cousins' last game was 10 months ago. He's 36, coming back from a major surgery and an injury that a quarterback returning from has never had success. With an offensive line, I have some concerns about on the left side. They're starting a rookie left guard, and Matthews has a PFF graded 32 left tackle. Last season was 54th in run blocking. Why is that run blocking grade such a big deal? Cousins' first game back from a major injury. I think they're going to lean on the run game more. And when Cam Hayward was in the lineup, the Steelers only allowed 112.5 yards rushing per game. That's down from 28.7 yards when he was on the field. We take out the Colts and the Niners games, two of the better offensive lines in the league. That rushing total dips to 76.7 yards. Then if the Falcons get behind the sticks to early downs, is Matthews going to be able to protect a 36-year-old non-mobile quarterback against arguably one of the best pass rushers in the league? Look, I get the Falcons are the top of the league, but I have some questions. Cousins historically doesn't cover games. The first game's 33% against the number. A lot of people like the Falcons for the season. I get it. But to me, I have some serious questions with their offensive line. Cousins recovering from an injury. Morris, their coach, Robinson, their OC. Tomlin as a dog has been a cash cow for me. Give me the Steelers here +3.
Okay, I agree with everything you said. When looking at the board this week, I had a feeling that you would maybe go with Pittsburgh, seeing Tomlin as a dog. So I kind of felt you were going here, and I'm glad you did.
You know, Tomlin as a dog has just been one of the cash cow things. I know that the Steelers could be bad this year. They could struggle a little bit and not make the playoffs, be under 500. I get that. But, you know, I'm getting over 3. If this dips below 3, I'd probably hesitate a little bit. But the Steelers getting 3, I like a lot.
Yeah.
Next bet, my friend. Where are we going?
All right. Next bet. We got the Browns -2.5 here. So reasoning for this one, we got a few things going on. Mike McCarthy, straight up, week 1, is 1-3 in his time with Dallas. He beat the New York Giants last year. Congrats. 0-3 otherwise in week 1, coming out of the gate since he's taken over as Dallas. A couple other things. Dak Prescott on the road versus home. Normally, you maybe think this is a little nitpicky, but bear with me here. So Dak Prescott on the road is a 92 rating quarterback. At home, he has 120 passer rating. He throws more picks on the road and less touchdowns. And then let me just mention this as well. Cleveland last year, this defense at home was phenomenal. 13.8 points per game allowed at home. Now, on the road, they were allowing 32 points per game. But at home, very good defense. The Browns, on average, last year at home allowed a passer rating of 62.6. I mean, that is unbelievable to allow. So I think this defense is going to give Dallas some problems. I think Dallas offensively is pretty one-dimensional in terms of their weapons. I mean, it's CeeDee Lamb who held out for most of camp, and we'll see how that affects their play. But outside of CeeDee Lamb, it's not great. We're talking about Jalen Tolbert. We're talking about Ezekiel Elliott, but it's 2024. We're talking about, Brandon Cooks is a solid player. I don't think he moves the needle, especially as he gets older. But yeah, I just don't see Dallas having a ton of offensive success here. And then if we get over to the Cleveland offense, they had one of the most injured offensive lines I think you could ever have last year. I think they had 6 guys go down. There's 5 on an offensive line. I mean, they had so many injuries, not to mention Watson. Now, Flacco did come in and perform well, but they were 5-1 with Watson when he started last year. Word in camp is he's been good. Nothing special, but he's been good. And that's really all they need him to be. I think their pass catching weapons are a little better than maybe people could realize. No one that I would say is an elite receiver, but Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, and Amari Cooper, along with David Njoku, who really broke out at the end in Stefanski's offense last year. I think Cleveland's a good bet here. I think Cleveland knows that they're kind of on the clock with trying to win. And Dallas has just had a lot of noise this year, and I kind of like this offseason, and I kind of like to fade those teams week 1. So I like the Browns minus 2.5 at home here.
Comment of the stream so far. Here it is. Cowboys suck. Cowboys, I think the main thing people need to remember for the Cowboys, and this is why one of the futures I like, and I want to hear your opinion on it, is for them not to make the playoffs. They're changing defensive schemes, and it's completely different. Diggs, Bland, and I know Bland's hurt. Zone defense, ball hawking, go after the ball. Now they're going man-to-man. That's a big change. And I think those guys are going to struggle a lot with that change. And look, who said it? They can't stop the run. The Browns offense at the end of the day is an elite zone rushing attack. Sports Facts here in the chat says Ford over 100 yards, that he loves that prop. You're probably going to get that probably plus 200 at worst, probably plus 300 if you shop around. Cowboys can't stop the run. So I like this bet. I wouldn't be surprised if it makes it on my card. Cool Kev checking in. What is up, my friend? And you know what, Cool Kev? You are going to love this bet because I believe you are part of the nation, Raider Nation. Give me the Raiders plus 3.5. Listen to this, my friend. Week 1 divisional dogs, 60% against the number when their road dogs dips down a little bit, 57%. I know everyone is saying, Eric, but Harbaugh is 60% against the number as the coach. But when we look at divisional games, that number dips down to 44%. Who was the Chargers' best run stopper last season? Joseph Day. The issue is, though, Joseph Day is out in Nashville now playing for the Titans. The Raiders have a sneaky good offensive line. I think they're going to be able to run the ball against the Chargers. Look, I like Minter, the DC for the Chargers, a lot. But I think it's going to take time for his system to be installed. And a shot to all the Michigan fans out there. Let's see how his system looks when he doesn't have Colin Daniels telling him what the plays are. I'm kidding. But my point is this. It's going to take time. This is a brand new system. Harbaugh has made it known that he wants to run the ball. And no one has realized that the Raiders could have one of the best defensive lines in the league with Knuth, Jenkins, Wilkins, and Crosby. I think the Chargers, whose running back room has a little questions. I think Vidal is going to be the RB1 by the time the season ends. But I don't think he's going to be the RB1 to the beginning of the season because he still has to develop in some pass pro stuff. I think they're going to struggle running the ball. Chargers don't really have any wide receivers that can exploit the Raiders' back four, which is the weakness. But if the Raiders' front four is living in the backfield, Herbert's not going to have time. Very small sample size. Pierce as a dog is 80% ATS. I get a divisional dog over the number of 3, who, look, I think is better in the trenches. Raiders plus 3.5. Second bet for me, my friend.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point you make about that they're better in the trenches, but then you add on to that, are the Chargers even really that much more skilled on the outside? I would like, who's their number one receiver? Lad McConkey, Josh Palmer. I don't think guys that can
so many questions. Like, literally, exactly. Johnson can't catch the ball. Josh Palmer came in very highly touted out of Tennessee, and he really hasn't done anything, except when Keenan Allen and Mike Williams has been gone. I don't know, man. This Chargers team, Harbaugh's getting a lot of hype. Now, let me ask you this. Did you watch the documentary on Netflix?
I've not watched the Stallions doc. No.
I don't know, man. Like, the dude's a weird cat, man. Like,
yeah.
Weird cat. Reed, bet number 3, my man.
All right. This one may have to hold your nose a little. We're going not to the best game. We're going with a road favorite, but it's a short road favorite, and it's the Vikings minus 1.5. I'll start with a couple. Start with the Giants side of this. So they're going into New York, into the Meadowlands. I don't know. I mean, and I don't know maybe how much I should be taking from this, but did you watch the Giants offseason Hard Knocks?
I did.
Did you get the feeling that Brian Dable was happy with who's currently playing quarterback for that team?
So, no, but I have a couple thoughts. So,
but I'll continue. I just think, I think Daniel Jones is, he's coming off his ACL. I know he had a good year or a decent year before, but his biggest thing is mobility. And now it's going to be, and for our purposes, at least for this week 1, it's his first game back from an ACL injury, his first ACL injury. So it will be interesting to see how much they want to run him, how much, they want to use him as a mobile quarterback, which is one of his best attributes. And if he doesn't have that, I consider that him a downgrade from what they had in him last year. I think this offense is painfully devoid of talent other than Malik Neighbors, who, is a questionable fit with Daniel Jones, I think, in the first place. Malik Neighbors is a speed guy. Daniel Jones does not have the strongest arm by any sense of the imagination. The other 2 guys they have are young, recently drafted guys, Hyatt and Wan'Dale Robinson, also speed guys that we'll have to see. Offensive line, I don't know if it got much better from last year. I don't see that it's going to be fantastic. And, I get why they let go of Saquon, but I would say Devin Singletary is a downgrade from Saquon Barkley. Defensively, they improved, but not anything where I think, they've really stepped up. Thibodeau had a down year last year. We'll see if he can bounce back. Brian Burns, I think, is a classic Giants free agent signing where they buy high on a player and probably get them, on the downtrend. But I don't like this Giants team a lot. And then when you talk about Minnesota on that side of the ball, I think last year their defense really exceeded expectations, which was not being god awful. But I think Flores got some of his guys here. He got Bullard from Houston, Cashman from Houston, Van Ginkel from Miami. Were all, I think, upgrades over what they had last year. Ivan Pace is a player to look out for. He's an undrafted guy out of Cincinnati last year, but he can fly around the field. He's a modern-day NFL linebacker. They have talent on the defensive line as well. Now, the secondary is the offense is the weakness defensively, but I do not think Daniel Jones is, as we mentioned with the Chargers and Raiders, I don't think Daniel Jones or that Giants offense is going to be able to exploit that secondary, especially with Flores sending the house in the blitz at them. I think offensively they'll be good enough, especially week 1 with the full complement of weapons. Addison today was just reported back at practice and is likely to play on Sunday. Jefferson, obviously, a great receiver. Now, am I down in the Vikings this year? Yeah, but I think in this game specifically, you get an Aaron Jones at 100%. It's the healthiest he'll be all year. You get an offensive line that's good as well. And the big question is Sam Darnold. And I'm not standing on the table saying you should want Sam Darnold to be starting for your NFL team, but is he really that much of a downgrade from Daniel Jones? Is he unable to run an effective offense that Kevin O'Connell has made work with Nick Mullins and Josh Dobbs? I think Minnesota is a slight favorite here. It makes a lot of sense to me. I think the Giants could be in for like a disaster of a year, and I think it could start early. Minnesota -1.5.
So, you're my boy. Now this is you're my boy, man. But this is where I'm at. Now just looking at this. So, who's the quarterback that comes out not next year, but the year after? He goes to he goes to your school. He goes to Archie Manning. And I think we're gonna just hear me out. Just hear me out. I think we're gonna see teams start to position themselves to get Archie. Does that make sense?
I don't know.
I think because you need a quarterback on that rookie deal. Giants, maybe that's what they're trying to do.
But I don't think he's a slam dunk.
We don't know what he is. He hasn't been on the field yet. We don't know what the hell he is. And
I do agree teams are not pumped about this draft class.
Number 2. DeBull won 5 games, I think, with 4 or 5 games with Tommy flipping DeVito as a quarterback, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like this game, I'm going back.
You could say that about O'Connell on the other side.
I'm going back and forth on this game. I really am. Like it's Sam Darnold on the road laying points.
Laying a point.
Yeah. So basically the money line. But I'm just saying, like, in my Survivor stuff, I'm down to either Seattle, Tampa, obviously the Bengals, or the Giants, excuse me. One of those 4 is the team I'm going to use. I don't know which one yet, and I have to get the pick in by tomorrow.
One of those the Giants?
Yeah, man. Because, like, you have to think long term. What's a team where I can gamble on early on in the season, and if I get it right, you know what I mean? I have the Bengals, the Seattle, those teams to use at a later time. That's what I want to find.
Here's my thing with the Giants. Their best offensive player is playing his first ever game on Sunday.
Which is everything you said is 100% true. It's just, I don't know.
It's Sam Darnold on the road. I know.
The road. But you're my boy. You're my boy. You're my boy. It's just Sam Darnold on the road, man.
That's fair. That's very fair.
And sorry, man. Sorry. Just Sam Darnold, man. I hate Sam Darnold. Okay. But you know what? I'll tell you what. If they win, I will Venmo you. I'll Venmo you $15 to go get a sixer, dude. How about that? Sixer of Corona.
Nice little sixer. Oh, thank you.
My next bet and last bet, and it's grimy. I took the Colts here plus 2.5. I know everyone is going to say, let's take the Texans. It's under 3. It's actually, looking at the market right now, surprisingly, it's dipped up to 3. I didn't think it was going to dip up to 3. I'll probably reinvest at the 3 here. But I did lock in the plus 2.5. All the trends real quick. Divisional dogs getting 2.5 or less are 69% ATS in week 1. Divisional home dogs in week. Oh, sorry. That is just overall. Divisional dogs week 1 getting 2.5 or less are 69.6% ATS. When they're home week 1, They're 77.8% ATS. So the trends are saying to take the Colts. Colts have one of the best offensive lines in the game. They are returning everyone. Their only weakness is Fries on the right guard, but he's sandwiched between Kelly and Smith, and they're able to band-aid the liabilities he has. In Week 18 last season, the Colts rushed 37 times for 227 yards, averaging an insane 6.1 yards per attempt. Texans' big acquisition on the defensive line was Hunter from the Vikings. PFF graded the 93rd best edge rusher against the run last season. I don't think that moves the needle for the Texans' ability to stop the run. Texans allowed the 6th most rushing yards last season and the 2nd highest yards per game. They did nothing in my eyes to really address that weakness. I think the Colts will be able to have their way rushing the ball. Richardson being back there, doing the RPO with Taylor, I think is actually going to even open up more lanes for Taylor. Everyone is very quick to sip this Kool-Aid on Stroud, and I get it. He was huge last year. He cashed my Rookie of the Year bet I had on him. But I would pump the brakes. He had the 2nd most off-target throws last year as a starter. The only starter that had more off-target throws last season, Mr. Short Stuff, Bryce Young. Texans led the league in early down rush attempts, and when Stewart played, the Colts were elite defending the run. I think they're going to be able to contain Mixon. Houston's offensive line has some question marks. Will Struggs take the 2nd-year jump at center? How will Green look first game back after missing last year from the injury? You have a young, unproven offensive line going on the road against Payne, DeForest Buckner, and Stewart. I think they're going to struggle to protect Stroud. With the Texans' inability to stop the run, concerns about the Texans' offensive line, trends with home divisional dogs, short home divisional dogs, I'm taking the Colts here. Give me the Colts plus 2.5. Whew.
Yeah, I like that one too. I've also kind of gotten a little. I think the Texan love is getting a little much. I don't know. I just pulled up a quick stat here, but CJ Stroud was very good in his first year, but he had an unusual amount of success on 3rd down. 1,300 of his yards and 9 of his touchdowns came on 3rd down, which is phenomenal. But at the same time, when a lot of your success is coming on 3rd down, that is high variance, and that can be, that can come back to bite you the next year. I specifically remember hearing that very same thing, and I'm not saying CJ Stroud is like this player at all, because this is like calling CJ Stroud a scrub. But I remember hearing the same things about Carson Wentz when he had his MVP here. He had a lot of success on 3rd down, and I think part of that's because Loic, just kept trying to establish the run last year for Houston, and they couldn't run the ball. So maybe they'll let Stroud throw it a little more. Maybe that's why he was so successful on 3rd down. But that's also something I heard and I kind of noticed. And it's something to look out for. I like the Colts here in this spot too.
I mean, we need to remember there's been a laundry of first-year quarterbacks that just turned out to be dog shit. And I'm not saying Stroud's going to be that, but to put him in the class that people are putting him in, I think we need to be a little bit more realistic about where we have Stroud and everything. Reed, I would like to thank you for coming on, talking a little NFL Week 1. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on social media, my friend?
RBinucci 12 on Twitter. It's football season, so I'll be becoming a lot more active.
Reed has a solid 4 months when he's on Twitter, and then he just disappears. Like, you'll never find him at all. But that 4 months when he's on Twitter, it's a good 4 months. I'd like to thank everyone for hanging out. Sports Facts, Cool Kev, I Need Some Money, my boy Bobby Thomas, I Hate the Lakers, all of you for tuning in. We're here every single week during the NFL season, dropping some bets. If you're still looking for some fantasy football stuff on my website, Etoft21sports everything listed, fantasy football rankings, a plan, whatnot. Make sure to check that out. We'll be back next week when my boy Rafa from the Two Nobodies podcast stops by and ready for Reed tweeting season. Yep, that's what it's going to be, Reed tweeting season. So make sure to check us out. Make sure to give my boy Reed a follow, and we'll be back next week, boys and girls. Good luck in all your bets.